Chicken isn't inherently healthy, and that's especially true when it's been processed, breaded, seasoned, and fried. In fact, much of the chicken you're consuming is full of ingredients that may catch you off guard. Here's what you may not have realized is in your chicken. If you're not familiar with monosodium glutamate, commonly known as MSG, it's time to expand your knowledge. According to an article on Healthline, MSG is an additive in many processed foods that's used to enhance umami, or meaty-tasting flavors. Some people report feeling symptoms like headaches, muscle tightness, and tingling, among others, when they eat too much MSG. It's possible that some people may have sensitivities to the additive. However, the FDA has claimed that MSG is safe to eat in moderation. MSG is common in many Asian cuisines, and chances are you'll come across it a lot if you go to Japan or Korea. When you get down to it, MSG does make things delicious.
Ooh, chicken. I'm gonna make it!
You'll often find MSG in fast food chicken from a multitude of restaurants, so it's kind of hard to avoid it when you eat out. Okay, no one's saying that your chicken nuggets or other fried chicken items are filled with silicone, but according to Is It Bad For You, or IIBFY, there may be trace amounts of dimethylpolysiloxane, a silicone-derived additive in the fried foods you purchase. And people point to the fact that it's also used in products no sane person would put in their mouths, like bathroom caulk, mold expulsion agents, and polishes. So why in the world would this be found in chicken? Well, as IIBFY points out, it's more or less non-biodegradable, which makes it a good food preservative and an anti-foaming agent. Many restaurants use dimethylpolysiloxane in their frying oils to help reduce oil splatter. Most of your favorite fast food restaurants use this stuff, but sometimes it's hard to find out which ones do. For instance, on the McDonald's chicken nuggets page, you have to read the super fine print at the bottom of the page to see where the company has stated, "Our fried menu items are cooked in a vegetable oil blend with citric acid added as a processing aid, and dimethylpolysiloxane to reduce oil splatter when cooking." The concept of putting a saline injection in chicken may sound a bit alarming, especially if it calls to mind saline eye drops or nasal sprays. But it's actually a fairly safe additive found in most prepared chickens. Saline is basically just a mix of salt and water. In cooking terms, it's a brine, and according to the Daily Mail, it's probably why Costco's rotisserie chickens fly off the shelves almost as soon as they're cooked. When brines are injected into chickens before they're cooked, the salt solution helps retain moisture, leading to a juicier and more flavorful finished product. And yes, because saline injections include salt, the cooked chicken tends to have a higher sodium content than if it had been prepared without the solution. That said, the salt content typically isn't overwhelming, although if it's available, it's a good idea to check the nutrition information for the chicken you're eating to make sure you're not overloading your system with extra sodium. A 2016 article published in Mental Floss shed light on the creative spelling of DiGiorno's Wings product, which was released in 2011. The reality is, DiGiorno wasn't legally allowed to advertise the product as wings because there's no guarantee there's actual meat from chicken wings in the DiGiorno product. In fact, if you look carefully at the wings packaging, there's an asterisk next to wings that points to smaller print that literally says, quote, "with no wing meat."
So DiGiorno comes with boneless wings now?
Oh yeah, great wings.
So what then are DiGiorno's wings made of? The good news is they are made with chicken. According to the ingredient list on the box, they're cooked chicken breast chunk fritter with rib meat. To be fair, wings sounds better than chunk fritter, so it's hard to blame DiGiorno for getting creative with the product's spelling. And it's important to note that if you see other products that have similar misspellings, check the fine print. To avoid false advertising claims, many companies will misspell a product to position itself as being the same or similar to a different, more commonly sought-after product. Not all oils are created equal. According to Health, Palm oil, found in many fast food chicken sandwiches, including McDonald's buttermilk crispy chicken sandwich, is higher in saturated fats than some other vegetable oils, like olive oil. And even though palm oil has zero trans fats and is lower in saturated fats than butter or coconut oil, the high saturated fat content makes the oil far from being considered a health food. Vegetable oils like canola oil should be considered your first choice when selecting healthier fats. And if you or someone in your family has a peanut allergy, it's worth noting that some restaurants use peanut oil for frying. Granted, the American College of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology points out that most people with a peanut allergy can consume fully refined peanut oil without a problem. But the key word there is most. Talk to your doctor before giving it a try, and educate yourself on which products contain peanut oils. For instance, Chick-fil-A's chicken sandwich lists this fully refined oil in its ingredients. Carrageenan is a seaweed extract that's used as an emulsifier and thickening agent, and it's found in a multitude of foods, including raw chicken and dairy products like chocolate milk. According to an article on The Kitchen, Carrageenan can be found in Costco's rotisserie chicken, and a little digging shows that it's been added to KFC's popcorn nuggets as well. Carrageenan doesn't seem as bad as other chicken additives, but according to the Journal of Clinical Allergy and Immunology, there has been at least one case of anaphylactic shock related to a Carrageenan allergy after a particularly large dose. Chances are, though, when it comes to the chicken in your freezer, it shouldn't be too big of a deal. It's not clear who came up with the phrase meat glue, but whoever did it should not be in marketing. Well, according to an article on Reader's Digest, Transglutaminase, TG, or meat glue is a controversial food additive that's been banned by the European Union, but is still, quote, generally recognized as safe by the FDA in the United States. Transglutaminase itself is a naturally occurring enzyme made from the blood plasma of livestock like pigs and cows that can help form bonds between proteins. So, because it makes proteins bond together, it's been dubbed meat glue. The reason the European Union has banned its use is that when these bonds between proteins are formed, there's a higher likelihood of introducing bacteria into the product. So consumers are more likely to experience food poisoning. While TG is a common additive in products like chicken nuggets and patties, Reader's Digest estimates that the percentage of meat products per year in the United States that contain this additive is a measly 0.016. If you want to avoid it, just look for transglutaminase, TG enzyme, or TGP enzyme on the ingredients list. Technically, the FDA has officially banned trans fats from being added to processed foods or restaurant foods. Trans fats are usually created when hydrogen is added to a liquid fat, like vegetable oil, to create fat that's solid at room temperature. However, they've been linked to negative health outcomes, like increased risk of heart disease. That said, there's a loophole. Because trans fats occur naturally in very small amounts, the FDA has allowed restaurants and food manufacturers to list a food as having zero trans fats, as long as there are fewer than 0.5 grams of trans fat per serving. This allows restaurants and manufacturers to continue using hydrogenated oils as part of their products, as long as they're only present in small amounts. So if brands can list foods as having no trans fats when they actually contain small amounts of them, how do you know if your favorite fried chicken is actually trans fat free? The key is in the ingredient list. Look for hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils, as you'll note on the ingredients for many fast food chicken products. This is typically a dead giveaway that the product has a trace amount of trans fats. An article on Healthline points out that you might be better off simply assuming that most of your favorite fried fast food items contain trans fats. If you're at all familiar with gluten, it probably isn't too big of a surprise that most fried chicken products contain the substance. After all, according to Medical News Today, gluten is a family of proteins found in grains, including wheat, rye, spelt, and barley. And what's the breading found on fried chicken? Usually, it's a hotbed of wheat, and thus gluten. What you might be surprised about, though, is that gluten isn't just found in fried chicken. It's found in other prepared chicken dishes, too. An article on Today points out that chicken treated with modified food starches, like Costco's rotisserie chicken, are possible culprits. This is because modified food starches are typically made from genetically engineered corn or wheat. The thing is, many people can eat gluten without experiencing any type of problem, but there are others who have an autoimmune disease called celiac disease, or a non-celiac gluten sensitivity that can make these dishes unhealthy. These individuals may experience severe gastrointestinal distress after consuming even trace amounts of the proteins and need to do their best to avoid it altogether. Because wheat allergies are common, look for information on your chicken's product packaging to see if modified food starch is listed as an ingredient. Then check for notes about whether the product was made at the same facility where wheat is processed. These clues can help you determine if a prepared chicken product is gluten safe. Fried chicken usually doesn't taste particularly sweet, right? Of course, that may depend on what you're eating. Honey barbecue hot wings will certainly offer a sweet kick. But when you grab a basic chicken sandwich or you order chicken nuggets for your kids, you're probably not thinking too much about sugar intake. But believe it or not, almost all prepared chickens come with added sugars. In fact, according to a review of sugar content in fast food chicken products published on Forbes, added sugars were found in most of the restaurant's grilled and charbroiled products. These included chicken from Subway, Firehouse Subs, Panera, Chick-fil-A, Hardee's, Wendy's, Carl's Jr., Panda Express, Burger King, and McDonald's. In fact, the only restaurants whose grilled and charbroiled meats made it out without a bit of sugar listed were Dunkin' Donuts, Taco Bell, and Chipotle. Of course, some of these restaurants opted for slightly more subtle ingredients, including cane molasses, corn syrup, or dextrose. While many chicken products do contain sugar, it's usually pretty limited. If you're keeping an eye on your sugar intake, or you know you need to monitor your blood sugar response, make sure you're looking at the nutrition information to note how many grams of sugar are included in your favorite chicken meal. If you start perusing ingredient lists for many fast food chicken orders and grocery store packaged chicken products, you're likely to be surprised by how many of them list food coloring as part of their ingredients. For instance, the Chick-fil-A nutrition page lists color in the form of paprika, which you shouldn't have to be too worried about, while Tyson lists caramel color as one of the ingredients for its buffalo-style chicken strips. The idea is pretty simple. Food companies realize that people want their food to look as appealing as possible, and sometimes that means engineering the perfect color palette for a platter of buffalo chicken wings or a kid-friendly chicken nugget. This is especially true when companies rely on every item sold to look identical. By adding food coloring, they can help ensure consistency in color no matter what. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more mashed videos about your favorite foods are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.